afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. My name is Maki, Nighty, artist, journeyman, and illustrator, and welcome to page 20. I think it's page 27 of Maki's sketch diary. We're close to 30 pages here, and I'm very, very happy about that. And this topic is going to be a little bit different for me because it deals with something that I've been noticing for the past couple of years in kind of the different spaces and such. And I will give you guys a warning right now. This will be a more rant-filled video, just because I was kind of bothered by this, and I was kind of bothered by this mindset, this sentiment, this what's been going on, and I want to try to, if you guys will let me, articulate why this aspect bothers me and how it can pertain to my art and sense, and just kind of how I see things, how I see people and such like that. So let us begin. And this is also a recorded stream, so for the people who were in the chats who saw this live, thank you guys, and let me go and get to it. So the issue began on I was on a stream earlier before I started recording. I was on a stream with my friend Culture Casino on his channel. Make sure you subscribe to Culture Casino. We were doing a Sunday Culture review. We were kind of talking over about the topics in entertainment, pop culture, and stuff for the week. And then we got to about halfway through the stream, about like 45 or an hour way through the stream, we got to the topic of the new MCU show on Disney Plus, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. There has been a lot of mixed emotions about that show so far, from just the CGI and how it was handled, to what's been going on behind the scenes, to kind of the approach and stuff that the show's been taking. And something about not this specific episode, but this kind of the whole thing with kind of the She-Hulk, the kind of the subtext, I guess you could say, that I'm seeing that really did bother me personally. So I want to give just a big disclaimer, is like, listen, this is from what I'm seeing. This is from my personal point of view, personal experience, because I do think that there's subjects that are deep within the show that really did bother me personally. You can take whatever I say, which you will, and I know there's going to be a lot of different opinions about this. So I would just want to speak from the heart and why this personally bothers me, and I'm going to try my best to apply this to the art that I'm doing, that I do and such like that. So She-Hulk has so far been getting mixed reviews and such for a different range of emotions and different range of experiences and such like that. And I've been hearing about it. I haven't really watched the show personally, but I've seen a lot of clips that have been surfacing online throughout social media, throughout YouTube and such, and people talking about this. Me personally, I don't think the show is. I definitely don't think the show is probably not for me. I will say that. I don't think the show is definitely not made for me. Not my interest. But there is, from what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing about all over the place, is that there's this subtext. There's this text that I personally have been bothered, that personally has been kind of bothering me because of, me growing up, because of how I grew up and how I, see the world and how I treat people and such. And there have been, from what I've seen in the clips, is that there have been many instances where the character Jennifer Walters, played by Tatiana Maslany, has been very much downplaying and denigrating, and even so far as to be very disrespectful and, inconsiderate of what her cousin, Bruce Banner, played by Mark Ruffalo, has been going through at his time as the Hulk. And the clips have surfaced all from I think one of the most famous clips is that her being able to control her anger because of what she goes through every single day as a female, as a woman. And for as much as I can understand and sympathize with that, there's a subtext where, for me personally, I can't sympathize. I can't not see this as anything other than, and it's not just this scene, it's just kind of in general. And it highlights a thing that I've been noticing for the past couple of years in entertainment, in pop culture and such like that, is I think it's great. Let me start by saying this. I think it's great. I think it is absolutely wonderful that we have more female representation. I think we have more female characters in fiction show up in this way, that, and the third. I think it's great seeing that. However, I feel like there is this ill intent advised. There's an ill-advised intention of bringing that to the forefront. I am personally bothered by the downplay and denigration of male characters, or just the opposite sex in general, to propel the female characters. And I'm not saying this about all fiction nowadays. I'm not saying this about all entertainment nowadays. I'm not saying that. Just from some of the stuff that I've been seeing recently, I've noticed that there's a little bit of that subtext, and it personally, for me, I'm bothered by that because, well, for one, we don't it feels like it doesn't, like it's like the showrunners, producers, the writers, the creators of a lot of these properties, they get this sense that this is how all men act in real life. And I think that is completely wrong. I think that is completely wrong, and I think that's missing nuances to it. I think that there's a lot of things wrong, me personally, and I want to say this before I move on. If you guys disagree with me, agree with me, it's fine. I want to hear it in the comments. But I want to just kind of express why I wanted my thoughts about this, because I was personally bothered by it during the stream that I was on earlier today, and I really was very passionate. The people who watched the stream on Coach Casino's channel, they knew how passionate I was, how I kept interrupting, because I had a lot to say about that, because it really did bother me. In general, the kind of the subtext that I have had a problem with for the past couple of years in some entertainment and some fiction is just the abrasive, apparent downplay of male characters, the downplay of men in general, and just the male bashing, I guess you could say, in a more broad, generalized term, is I have gotten very numb to the sense of male bashing that goes on. That and I will use She-Hulk as an example. And the reason why I have a problem with that is because it's just, it seems as if the writers, the showrunners, the creators of some of these properties here, they have either some deep-seated hatred towards the opposite sex, or have some issues with members of the opposite sex in their past, in their history, and they needed an outlet to just bring those transgressions and to bring that anger out, to let out that anger. But not, it feels like I never get the sense that it feels like it's just it's just like, oh, they're going after this specific person or this specific guy or this specific. It's just like, it feels very general. It feels like it's generalizing, like all men like this, all guys like this. And I may be wrong. I might be wrong on this, but this is just from what I'm seeing. Why something like She-Hulk bothers me is because it's very narrow. It is a very narrow view of the world. It's a very narrow view of how people interact in general. It's very narrow, and it's coming from where I was growing up. I grew up in a good family. I grew up in a nice household and very well off. And I was taught to be very chivalrous growing up. Not just to women, but to people in general. Seeing something like this who has, maybe they have a hookup, maybe they have a bad breakup, or maybe they were treated, disrespectfully. I'm not somebody who's just going to just label all women like that. Or all men like that just because of those kind of experiences. I have a close friend, a best friend, who has been on and off again with so many guys in her life since high school. She's had very bad relationships. She's had relationships that did not end well. But there was never a single moment in the decade or so years that I've met my best friend that she was never just write off all men entirely. She never did that, not even once. And that's, for me personally, I kind of see that too. Have I been wronged by, if there was a case where I have been wronged by women before, I wouldn't label that as, I wouldn't put my aggressions that just lay out as just, oh, this is just all women are like this. It's like, no, it's just that one person, seeing it as an individual, I guess. Because it's human, as human beings, as human beings, we're not perfect. We're all going to screw up. We're all going to be like this. We're not going to act the way that we were raised. We're not going to act like this chivalrous stuff. But the problem that I had with She-Hulk and such was that it was the male bashing that I had the problem with, the subtext. Like, thinking that, catcalling, the catcalling thing, they bring up, a lot of people bring up. How men act towards women in a public space or in a professional space. I can pinpoint a lot of things. It's just like, I don't know what world they're in or what they're seeing in their lives, but that's not what I'm seeing. That's not what I see. That's not what all men are like this. So it feels like there's a sense of rejection. There's a sense of just bad experiences that they just want to just bring that out into public space. or bring that out on in entertainment and such. And it's not just that show, it's just I've seen that in some kind of comics where it feels like, especially in kind of like Marvel comics, where it's like the female characters get propped up so much by the only way they can prop up the female characters is to completely bash and denigrate the male characters. Put male characters down. It's like you can't. It's like you're too afraid of showing any form of appreciation towards a male character, or that you can't have a female character be a great well-written character, be a strong character without the help of a male character. Like, it all has to be on her own. Like, they can't be a great character just because having somebody there to help them, having somebody there to be there for them. Like, I think about the differences in She-Hulk in the comics versus the show. And I mentioned this on the stream beforehand I started recording, was that Jen was very, very supportive, very, very considerate, incredibly sympathetic to what her cousin Bruce Banner goes through on a daily basis, trying to having to deal with this Hulk persona. It's a Jack on High thing. It eats at him every night. It eats at him every day. Something he has no control over. And while Jen is very proud of the Hulk gene, the Hulk genetics, and how it's improved her life, she's still she understands what Bruce has to go through. And she's incredibly sympathetic towards him. She shows a lot of strength in that. She shows that she's not, like, even in the comics, she's very around. She enjoys being around male characters and such. She enjoys being around the guys. She's incredibly sympathetic towards the guys and such, and she's not downplaying them. I feel like, and I may be wrong. People maybe in the comments maybe tell me I'm wrong on that one, but I see that, and then I see what's going on in the actual MCU show on Disney Plus, and I'm like, it's like a complete opposite. It's just, it never, and there, and I think people can bring up other great examples to that as well. It's just, I'm really was bothered by that, and I'm really bothered by a lot of things. It's like, listen, if the shoe was on the other foot, it would sound completely wrong. It would sound completely messed up, just having to prop a male character up by bringing a female character down. And I think that's wrong on both ways, regardless. I see this, and I love the characters that we see in fiction, to see stuff like that, and the female characters that I draw personally and such. It's like, coming from my own personal stance, is that when I look at, especially with the character that I was drawing for this page, it just never seems as if she would be. It seems that she would never be someone who is just bashing men all the time, or feels like that she has to do it on her own, that she can't be strong enough without a male character helping her out. It feels like there's a disrespect, I guess you could say. There's a lot of a disrespect behind it, and and there's a lot of a bashing behind it. And it's like, a lot of little boys do look up to, do like female characters too. A lot of guys who have a lot of female characters as well, that they have as their favorites too, mine personally. I look at this, and then I look at my own work and my own past work, is that why I spend so much time on drawing females as my focus. And that's personally because I have such this genuine appreciation for the female form. I have such this genuine appreciation for female characters in general. I appreciate that. You can see it through every page in the sketchbook how much I have a genuine appreciation for wanting to put a female character as my forefront, and it's genuine, and it's never feels like it's bashing male characters or anything. I like to think that's not the case. I'm not someone who's just gonna just denigrate. I wouldn't see any of my characters or any story I would make denigrate a male character, unless if it was like as a villain or as a point or as some kind of understanding. It's like, listen, we're all human. We appreciate each other. We bring each other up. We do bring each other down. We're not all perfect. And the thing is that, a lot of stuff that you see on Twitter or on YouTube or in entertainment and stuff is like, it doesn't reflect reality. It's like people could come up to this, like, just listen, they know that. I know deep down inside the people who do like what goes on in She-Hulk and the shows like that, it's like I like to think that they may understand. It's like, no, this is very a hyper realization of what goes on in real life. It's like, no, they don't think that all men are like this. That they denigrate men. It's not all men are like this, because they know that they probably are mothers. They probably have sons. They probably have boyfriends who they love to death and they share and they care so much. They have husbands. They don't see that, I just feel like this, when I look at She-Hulk, it's just like it comes from a mindset. It comes from a point where it's just like, you just hate men. I'm sorry. That's what I'm seeing. That's just what I'm seeing. That's what bothers me. And it's like, you're just bringing male characters down. You're not showing any actual appreciation for a male character, especially the male characters who helped build the MCU in the first place, who helped shape the MCU in the first place. And it seems like you don't even have any appreciation towards the female characters who helped shape the MCU in the first place, such as Black Widow. Natasha, to me, always be the first lady of the MCU. And we go into that. It's just like, it feels like you're kind of bringing down the opposite sex, but you're also in some ways you're kind of delegitimizing. I'm sorry if I'm getting that word wrong. You're kind of delegitimizing your own sex, though. It's like, maybe I'm naive. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm naive in thinking that, not all people are like that. I work a day job. I speak to women all the time. I speak to people all the time. I'm always in public talking to people and such like that, and I never see that. And I don't really see that kind of mindset, that hatred, I guess. Maybe I'm wrong. Hell, I'm in California, so you probably expect more people with that mindset you see in like She-Hulk and other shows like that. And that's like, in reality, not exactly. Even in California, people are very, it's not, you don't see it like that. It's just like, it's human beings. It just feels, and that's the thing, is that, the characters are, in Marvel, and in comics in general, and in fiction, the characters are meant to be larger than life. It's not meant to be realistic or such like that. But what I see with She-Hulk is just too much of trying to create this hyper world where every male character is so, just every male character is so denigrating, is so, only wants women for their bodies or anything like that, or just pigs, and like all male characters are like that. And it's just like, no, that's not true. It's not just She-Hulk. Like I said before, and I'm sorry to say this again, it's not just She-Hulk. It's just a general, from what I'm seeing in a lot of fiction nowadays, it's just propping up female characters by just bringing down men in general. I don't like that mindset. I think that and from my personal opinion, I'm gonna get hate for saying this. I don't think that's what feminism is. I don't think that, the feminists in the first, second waves, and the people who really, the women who really made those strides, I don't think that they had this idea of just bringing down men every single chance to get to propel themselves up, to propel the movement up. I just don't think that's what feminism is. I just don't think that what feminism is, in my opinion. I just don't. I think it's helping each other. It's helping each other. It's helping women, prop up. It's helping these stop. I feel like, you draw characters as characters, draw people as people who are very, like, I don't know why. It's just I don't know why. It's just like when I see like a video game or something where it's like you have a female character who is a strong female character, but they never once denigrate or just bring down the male characters, or are very appreciative of a male characters around them, makes them I appreciate that. I don't know why. I just appreciate that. I guess that's me personally. And I know my chat is blowing up right now. Sorry guys, I'm doing a recording for this. I will address everything right after I finish this recording. So just hang on just a little bit more. Sorry about that. I am so sorry. Anyway, but just from my personal experience, I have been raised to be very chivalrous. And I know people say chivalry is dying brand. I think chivalry is still alive. I think it's still there. I think people will still be respectful towards people no matter what. They will still be chivalrous. They'll still be opening the door for other people regardless. It's just like, it's almost like you want to bring that sense. It's like, listen, what goes on in shows for like She-Hulk and such like that, it's like, no, that's not real life. That's not how if you go in thinking that all men or all women are like this, no, that's not. You got to be able to separate fantasy from reality. And you got to say, it's like, listen, just from my personal point of view, I think that the kind of the male bashing stuff, it ruins the quality. It ruins the characters. It's the generalizing, it ruins the characters. It ruins the characters who've been there beforehand. It ruins the characters you're trying to focus on, because in some ways it makes a character like Jin come off as a narcissist, self-imposing, self-entitled, just all that. And I'm not going to bring the topic of race into this, because I know it's a lot of cases, a lot of times it's usually the white male characters that get denigrated all the time. I'm not going to go that route. I'm not. I've already kind of exposed some of my problems in a previous sketch diary video. So if you guys want to see that, I'll put the link to that back then. But that's not my focus here. So just I don't know. I don't know. It just really bothered me here. And I don't see that I feel like in my art, I don't see that in a way. I don't see that you draw all of these girls all the time, and it's like, you have a genuine appreciation of that. It's not coming from a point of like, oh, he's a horny, or he's an incel, or he's living in his mother's basement, or he can't get laid or anything. It's like, no, it's not. That's completely wrong. It's like, you have a genuine appreciation for women, for the female form in any way you can, and you really show it. And the thing is that for as much as I like hearing, as much as I appreciate, the comments from people who see the stuff that I do, and such, I will admit, sometimes it really makes my day to see that those compliments, those appreciations I get, come from women. And I have a slew of, women and girls who do appreciate the work that I do, no matter how sexualized it is. And in some cases, I've had comments that said that women have told me that some of my work has made them feel empowered, made them feel proud of themselves. You know? I don't know if you guys get that, but it's I know it's a weird conversation. It's a weird thing to kind of talk about. But it was just something I wanted to get off my chest because really did bother me. So, but I look forward to what you guys are going to say in the comments section down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much. And yeah, thank you for listening. Okay, all right. So that is done with recording. The recording is done. So now all I need to do is just make the video. Sorry, I am so sorry about that, everybody. that was so sorry about that. So let me go ahead and get to the comments. I know I see a lot of people showed up in the chat. This was just an impromptu stream. Again, I am so sorry about that. I had to do something recorded, but this came. Just for people who just showed up, the reason I'm making this, 1 second.
Expand for mics in my hands to grants. If you really gas me, dog, I think I can.
So that was page 27 of Maki's Sketch Diary. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I always love hearing from you guys when I talk about topics like this. This did kind of hit a personal nerve with me, hence I wanted to kind of air kind of my feelings and grievances about on the subject matter. And I always like hearing from you guys, because if you guys have a different opinion, am I right or am I wrong? I like to hear from you guys as well in the comment section down below. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications so you never miss out on a future video. Hopefully channel memberships will be up hopefully by the end of this month at the start of the next season, if not possibly in October. But stay tuned, plenty more to come from me as always. I am Maki, artist, journeyman, and illustrator, and I'll see you all next time for another video. Until then, take care and much love.